Greetings, everyone. I'm not sure how my voice is going to react today. We'll see. It's getting a little bit better. So I wanted to talk about, excuse me. I wanted to talk about how narcissists will make you their servant. And they're very good at doing this. And in fact, the more manipulative and sweet and gushy they are, they manage to get all kinds of people to just be doing all their domestic work, cleaning their cars. I'm not talking about wealthy people because that's like a whole different ballgame. I mean, it could be wealthy, don't get me wrong. But I'm just talking about bare bones, whether a person has millions or whether a person is just your run-of-the-mill blue-collar worker, poor person, whatever. They will find ways to cajole you into doing their work, things that they should be doing themselves. Or if they are claiming they're too busy or they got a bad knee or whatever their bullshit excuse is, they should hire someone, period. End of story. And also be careful of relatives that, I mean, not all of them, but be careful of relatives that want to hire you as a domestic worker, as a maid, as a babysitter, as a dog sitter. Now, I'm not saying every single relative. I don't mean, sometimes people need a little help. That's different. But these folks, they need to keep their false narrative going. They need to believe that they're too good for scrubbing a floor, mopping a floor, sweeping a floor. And they would rather sit in filth in a nasty, dirty house than to do any housework. And then have someone else come in and clean their garbage. Because that's the narrative they're feeding to themselves and others, that they are above it. They are too good to do it. A lot of them start this insanity at a young age. If they're very narcissistic, they might be your sister and they might be doing that to you when you're just a few years younger than them. Like, for example, they might be making you do their chores. Or like, hey, sister, I'll give you $2 if you do all my chores. And the way you're going to tell if it's a more narcissistic, controlling, manipulative, abusive person is that they're going to make you feel like you're less than while you're doing it. Or they're going to sit there and say, well, you missed a spot. Or no, you've got to redo the toilet because you didn't do it the right way. I have experience with this. I'm not going to go too deep. I also know some of my family members that went through this crap. But they will always, all day, every day, find a reason why you need to mop their floor, why you need to clean their floor, why you need to sweep their floor, why you need to do the dishes because their ex-husband threw them out of a car 20 years ago and they got a bad knee. So that means they can't wash dishes anymore. It's so ridiculous. I mean, I've had a total hip replacement. I'm doing a lot better now. I wasn't when I went through it. I can do stuff like that. So it's a never-ending excuse why they can't do something. They can't drive because they can't see. Oh, their vision's not good anymore. Or, oh, they're scared to drive. They got a fear of driving. So could you do their work for them? Could you go get their groceries? You will be exhausted around these people if you fall for their lies and the ridiculous manipulations. You will be exhausted. While they sit on their little throne, on their recliner, or on their queen-size bed, not moving a muscle because they have no muscles. And they'll sit and point out what you didn't do right, or did you add a cap full of bleach to the laundry? Now, I'm not saying typical people that just need help. There's a lot of people that need help. I don't mean that. There's a lot of people that hire maids, domestic workers, butlers, whatever, and they treat them very well. And maybe they like their laundry done a specific way. That would be me. But it's at the end of the day, it's like what I always say. And I will go to my grave saying this. How you treat people is who you are. Period. That's it. Narcissists that are like this will have you painting for them, will have you moving rocks, looking like a dumbass out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the night. Sometimes they'll help you a little bit, so then it doesn't seem as abusive. But it is abusive, because you don't really want to be doing that. Or you might hurt yourself doing all this manual labor that women are not meant to do. They're not meant to carry 40-pound buckets of rocks or stones. They don't care. They have no regard for you. They have no care. Hold on. You will never, ever be their priority. Their priority, most of the time, one of their real main priorities is creating the narrative that they want everyone in the world to see about them. You know, all the fake publicity, pictures we see. I mean, we can use Diddy as an example. I personally, I'm not a psychiatrist, nor am I a psychologist or a doctor. But the videos and things that I've read about Diddy mirror to me what a psychopath is. And I don't think he's the only one in Hollywood that's a psychopath. I think there's a lot of them up there. It's my opinion. It's free to have an opinion. But when it comes to a narcissist, not all psychopaths are narcissists, but not all narcissists are psychopaths. Psychopaths take it to the next level. Narcissists don't care about you. They don't care about anyone. They might care about themselves or the appearance to the world that people see on them. It might be making for example, I think of Diddy supposedly had these perfectly manicured lawns and all that with his gardeners, things like that. The outward appearances are everything to them. And oftentimes, I've noticed too, I don't really go to a narcissist's house very much anymore, but what I've noticed with them as well, they might have a very beautiful home or an apartment, but it's cold. They might have a lot of nice little paintings on the wall or perfectly matched paint, but it's cold. And some people just don't know how to decorate, so I don't mean them, right? I mean, it's just like there's a coldness to them because metaphysically, the coldness in their heart is matching their environment and their surroundings because they're cold. Narcissists don't care about you, and they never will. They care about how the world sees them. They care about being an alderman. They care about being a senator. They care about being a boss at a Fortune 500 company. They care about being the nurse in charge. Now, you guys obviously know not all of those titles are narcissists. Some people are very ambitious and charismatic and truly want to do something for the world. And they just do things big. But the people around them, they treat well. So if a person is going around treating people well, that's not a narcissist. Even if once in a blue they get mad, everyone's entitled to be mad once in a while. But if it's straight up abusive behavior all the time, that's different. But they will absolutely make sure that they find some dumb smuck, some idiot, and I've been there. I've been the idiot. I've been the smuck. To scrub their floor, watch their fucking dog while they go on a vacation. Because, I'm sorry for the French, you guys, but they play you for a fool. And if you start to get wise to them, then you're like, I'm real tired of this. I'm not doing it anymore. I've gone no contact with all of them. Ain't nobody got time for it. I have good boundaries in my life now. I don't allow any of it. The minute somebody wants, it hasn't happened to me for years. But if I had somebody say, will you help me move? Will you paint my house? Will you move my garbage? Will you mow my lawn? I ain't doing nothing for nobody. Nothing. That's where I'm at right now. If I decided to do something out of the kindness of my heart for someone, I would do it. Like when my dad was living, I would mow the lawn because I didn't like mowing the lawn when I stayed with him for a little while. But that was my dad, right? I'm going to help him out. It was a lot of mowing, so I didn't like it. That's different because that's your own volition. You're choosing to do something to help someone that you care about. When I used to do caregiving, I did that because I decided I wanted to do it. The minute I would get someone who was sort of abusive, I would just say, I can't do that gig anymore, or, whatever. I'd find a way out of it. Because I did encounter, most of my clients were not narcissists, but I did deal with family members that were. I remember once I was taking care of one elder client, and her son was so nasty. No, wait, let's say I had two of these. I had two similar situations. Maybe my clients were narcissists. I didn't see the narcissism in them, and they treated me well, so I didn't get that vibe. But they would straight up come to visit their mother, and these are two different separate clients, and they would not acknowledge me. So that's another real big narcissist thing. It's actually, I laugh at those MFers because they just make themselves look stupid. And then I remember years later, I lived in the same neighborhood as one of the sons of my client, the one that always would snub me, and they would order Chinese food and not offer me any, which I thought was super, super rude because they had the money. They could have bought me some. He was rude. I don't think the mom was as rude. She was decent sometimes. She was a little tight with her money, but she was nice. Most of the time she was. It's a whole long story I don't want to get into. It's because it's her private business. I don't want to. Rest in peace to her. So anyways, this son, narcissist son, I saw him at this hoity-toity grocery store I used to like to get my food at. You know what I did? And I looked real super nice. I didn't look like Miss Little Caregiver, in my little, you don't really dress up when you're doing caregiving. I freaking straight up ignored him. And I was dressed to the hilt. I had my good perfume on. Straight up ignored him. He was just baffled. I yeah, F off. And, rest in peace to his mother. She once told me, and then I'm going to go back to the servant. She once told me and I'm not trying to blow my horn, but I was kind of proud of that one. She had caregivers for a total of 9 years. She had a brain injury. So it was a sad, long story, but she treated me well. For the most part, she did. When she wasn't having her little tantrums, but it was the brain injury. She told me that I was the smartest caregiver she ever had. I always got a lot of compliments, not just my intellect, but I did get complimented on those things too. But when you're around a narcissist, watch it, because when you're first getting to know a narcissist that's like this, they're going to test you to see what you're going to tolerate. And they'll slowly start asking you to do stuff. Oh, could you babysit for my toddler and 5-year-old next Sunday? And one thing they really like to do is they like to do it at last minute. Because if you don't have enough boundaries and self-respect to say no on a Friday night when they ask you to go to watch their toddler and 5-year-old the next Saturday, they know that you're a pushover, that you don't have any boundaries, and that they can use you, and they will use you. They'll just test you. They'll do real, little things to see what is she going to put up with. Now, years ago when I was going through it, I have a good, pure heart, and I would project onto other people how I thought and how I would be, right? We all project. And that's the biggest thing. I was talking with a relative yesterday, and I was saying, always be careful of that, because we all do it. We project onto other people how we think they're thinking, or how we think they should act, because that's the way we think in our hearts and our minds. But people that are toxic or narcissistic, they don't think like that at all. You are a transaction. You are what they can get from you. That's the narcissistic supply. Anyways, they will test you. One thing that really irritates me looking back is I sort of want to go into it, but I kind of don't because it'll take too long to explain. But throughout my life, I always would help people move. And I moved quite a few times when I was younger. And nobody would ever show up for me. Never. I think one person showed up for me once and they're like, I can't lift because this. I mean, and they kind of were, it was like legitimate, but it was just honestly, it was just lazy. Like they just didn't want to help me. And I mean, back in the day, I used to always say those are users. And that was true. And there are some people that use other people that are not full-blown 100% narcissists. But just using people is a form of narcissism, if that makes sense. Like you might have a person that sort of uses people, but they have, and maybe they don't even really mean to use people, but they sort of, I don't know, they sort of just do. But they're nice and they're kind. And once in a while they'll show up for you. So they're not like full-blown hardcore narcissistic people. But nothing sets me off more. I admit I haven't completely worked out this, what do you call it, a button, I guess you would say. But I tell you what, straight up, it even happened to me at a job, and I sort of don't regret, it's a long story, but that place wound up closing down. But we were trying to fix the manager and the new staff were trying to make the environment better. So we agreed to clean the bathrooms. And, I'm not like above anything. And my other friend and coworker, she was like, I'll do it. But then later I sort of regretted it because I kind of felt like I got played a little bit. But the manager, she was in there helping us too. So I guess we all sort of fell for it. And it was for a good cause, and it didn't work out anyways. The place wound up closing. But where I'm at now, I ain't cleaning nobody's house. I have done that for extra money in the past, and I don't regret it. That's some of the easiest, best work you'll ever get. You don't have anybody yapping at you, telling you to do this, do that, type this, fill out that, do this case note, check this box. When you go and clean someone's house, if they're a fairly decent person, it's not so bad. And you can make real good money. It is a little backbreaking, though. I used to get tired from it, and I thought about opening a business like that for a little while. But I didn't for safety reasons, because I wasn't going to do it by myself. But nothing irritates me more, especially when I can see that there's a narcissist trying to, how do you say that? Kind of worm their way into someone's life and then get them to do their housework and stuff. It really sets me off bad. It's always a manipulation. And it's usually most of the time now, we're talking about narcissists. We're not talking about someone who genuinely just needs some help and, you're there and it's like, hey, could you help me? I don't mean people like that. In fact, me going through chemo, there's some agencies that help with house cleaning. This last hospitalization, I kind of thought, I didn't know if I was up for the housekeeping to clean my house, my apartment. My place is big enough to be a house, so I always keep calling it a house. But I did wind up being able to do it myself. And I felt good about it because I'd been laying in bed a long time. But it did get me tired. And I have great respect for people who do that kind of work. It's hard work. And there are some, especially women, that take tremendous pride in it and they do great work. But you have to be very careful of these narcissists trying to find excuses for you to do housework. Come to think of it, you guys already know I had a lot of jobs. I'm a survivor. I went through a lot, and gratefully I don't have to work anymore. But I had one job. And honestly, I look back, it was a husband-wife team. They were actually really, really good people. Like the mom and dad were super nice. They were a little older than me. Probably like the World War II generation. This is a while ago. But their son was a pain in the neck. And I had been hired. I was so excited because I got a good wage. Back then it was a good wage. Not now, it wouldn't be, but then it was. And I was so ecstatic. And it was administrative, and I sort of didn't want to do administrative work, but I took it. And they kept adding on extra work. You know how that goes. And they wanted me to do more accounting, and I had never done that. I probably could have done a good job when I look back, but I didn't believe in myself, to be real honest. I had this fear of math. But when I look back, it's just adding and subtracting. It's not that hard. And then my paycheck started not reflecting the wage that I agreed to, and I was getting kind of upset. It was $4 less per hour. I was like, what the F's going on here? I'm not stupid. I know when people do accounting tricks, I didn't fall off the bus, right? And then the son, who was a manager at this place, they didn't tell me at the very beginning that they wanted me to do cleaning the bathroom and stuff. And then he wanted me to do that. And I didn't like that at all. It's not that I was above it, but it bothered me because I kept trying to kind of move up, if you know what I mean. And it didn't feel right. And the son, who was a manager, he was over me. It was kind of they used to have a lot of employees, and a whole bunch of stuff happened. Their previous accountant stole a whole bunch of money from them. It was sad. They were a nice Christian family. The son was kind of a pain, but the parents were really sweet people. But that didn't sit right with me. And he kept adding more and more and more, and I don't usually get that stressed out so fast, but he was adding so much, so many job responsibilities. I started to, I was, at the time I was dating this bum, you know how it goes. And I started to have really bad panic attacks. And I just didn't go back to the job. I was freaked out. And then the manager, he came to my apartment building to make sure I was alive. Was I okay? And I felt bad. And he said, are you okay? And I said, yeah, I'm okay. I said, I just can't come back. I felt kind of bad doing that, but I was having panic attacks. If you guys ever had a panic attack, it's horrible. I don't think I've had a panic attack in 20, 25 years, thank goodness. But anyways, so that was an example. I don't think that, when I look back, I don't think the son was trying to be a jerk. They were trying to restructure the company, and they were really stressed. I think they were worried about money because they lost a lot of it. And then they were putting that stress on me, and it was just too much, you know what I mean? And I kind of felt granted, you have deductions from your check, but my check wasn't reflecting what I felt it should, and I was not happy about that. And the panic attacks were kind of the last straw. I couldn't handle it. I always felt bad about doing that because they really kind of were nice people. But I had to take care of myself, But it's that whole domestic thing, man. And I don't think he was a narcissist. I don't. I think he was a little spoiled. He was nice to me, he wasn't mean or anything. But narcissists are masters at this, man. I'm here to tell you. And the ones that are really good, you might have only known them 2 days. Next thing you know, you're cleaning out their car. Just met them 2 days ago. But they got some big, long sob story about how they're not able to physically clean their car, or their wife left them and they have nobody to help them, or those are the ones to watch out. They're the more vulnerable type. They always got a sob story. Honestly, I think that, and a lot of people say this, the vulnerable type narcissist are the more dangerous. That'll be the little old lady that has you driving her car without a license plate. You know what I mean? At 3 a.m. going to the grocery store or something, you know what I mean? They'll have you just feeling all bad about it because they know that you're an empath and you've got a good heart, and they play on it. Nothing is above them when it comes to the making you a servant. They'll use puppies, they'll use kittens, they'll use babies, they'll use toddlers. It doesn't matter. Like, whatever they can use to make you do for them what they want, the transaction, they'll do it. So I'm going to end there because I've been talking a long time here. But I hope that you guys find that beneficial. I'm not going to be doing the Scientology videos yet because I want to wait till my voice is 100%. But I've got another video I'm working on. I really was proud of the Yo Scientology video. And I've got another idea, but I just want it to come together. I did have, on my previous YouTube channel, an independent filmmaker that told me I have a real talent, and I'm proud of that. So I probably should move it up a level. I may invest in some software someday. And who knows, I may take a break from the Scientology stuff. There might come a day where I just don't want to do it anymore. But for now, I enjoy doing it, and I'm going to keep on speaking up for the children. And I'm not going to get involved in all this behaviors of these protesters and internet. I don't like what I see and the things I hear. People talking about other people, trying to pit other people against each other. That's not cool at all. You can have your opinion about people, but you shouldn't push it onto other people. I might not like one of these creators, but I'm not going to go on YouTube and talk about it. I don't have any reason to. I might not like someone's behavior. But anyways, I'm going to do another video on that. You guys all take care. Have a good day or good night wherever you are. Peace.